Hey, this is Jared Krause, host of the Buying Online Businesses podcast, and this is episode number 8, and I'm talking with the founder of Your Social Voice, Mr. Kim Barrett, who is a world-renowned marketer, author, and digital marketing master who has generated over $15 million in revenue. And in this episode, we talk about how to go away and grow the online business that you've just bought to get a higher return on your investment than you may have expected when you first bought the business. Now, we go away and identify not just the low-hanging fruit that the business has, but the jam that you can use to push this business to get a higher return. So guys, if you're looking at go away and not just buying your first online business or second or third, but also growing it with great marketing tactics and strategies, go away and listen to this episode because it's certainly for you. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Buying Online Businesses podcast. And after a few years of knowing this man and also knowing a few networks that this man is in and him being really good at digital marketing, I finally get a chance to speak to him and have him on the podcast. And that is Mr. Kim Barrett. Now, Kim, I noticed that you started your marketing journey way back when you were a teenager, and now you own Your Social Voice. You know, you're a renowned marketer, author, and you help people scale their businesses to the 6 and 7 figure mark. So Kim, thanks so much for jumping on the podcast and putting some time aside. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
And so Kim, I wanted to, first of all, we're going to talk about how to grow an online business, once you've bought it. And I have no doubt that we're going to have a great chat and we're going to go deep into some epic value about marketing. But before we dig into that, I want to ask you, what drew you to get into marketing at such a young age? I think you're a teenager, 15 or something. Is that right?
Yeah. So, I'd always been interested in business as a whole. So when I was a little kid, they're like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I was like, a businessman. It wasn't like a fireman or anything like that, or, an astronaut. It was like, no, for some reason I always wanted to have a really cool briefcase and I wanted to do business. And I always had, it was funny because last night I had dinner with my family and we found all our old Pokemon cards that we used to have.
Yeah, right.
I was like, hopefully these are worth $1 million or something now because we saved it so long. But I used to, when we had floppy disks, I used to probably somewhat illegal, so anyone listening, don't copy this idea, but I used to download it and put it onto floppy disks, a download of Pokemon Red or Gold, and then I'll take it to school and sell them for $2. So the floppy disk would cost me 50 cents and then I'll make $1.50 profit. So I was like, oh, this is great. I'm just licensed to print money, until I got in trouble from my school for doing that when I was 10 years old. They're like, Kim, you can't, this is blatant copyright infringement. You can't do that. Okay, cool. First lesson. But yeah, when I was 15, I was the admin of a forum. So obviously before really Facebook and things like that, I was on a forum and it was for aquarium fish. And we had been told that unless we could put together the money for our servers, for basically all the costs of running the forum, plus prizes and things like that we used to keep the members engaged, that we're going to be shutting down. And for me, this was a big friendship group. I'd been on that forum for over a year. I was a moderator there and I was like, cool, how can I help? And they said, well, we need sponsors. And I was like, cool. Why are the sponsors going to give us money? They're like, well, we have heaps of good quality traffic. We've got, what was that? I think it was nearly 20,000 members, which are all hyper interested in aquarium fish. So that's valuable to them. And I was like, yeah, cool. That makes sense. So I was like, do we have any statistics? They're like, look, here's all our back-end cPanel access, everything like that. They're like, you know what that is, right? I was like, yeah, of course. I was like, I have no idea. Quickly jump on Google. What is this panel? I was like, control panel. Gotcha. All right. Yeah, cool. I can figure this out. So I managed to find a screenshot of our traffic and it was showing how many hits per month, unique visitors, all the information you need to know about, your website. So I just took a screenshot of that and I put it into Paint, blacked out all the details they didn't need to know at the time, saved that. And then I just got an email and I just started searching. This is quite late at night. It's probably 10, 11 o'clock in Perth. So all the other guys on the East Coast, I was just Googling aquarium store Australia, aquarium store WA, online aquarium store Australia, and just got all these emails. And I got about probably, I think it might have been 40 to 50 people. Got them all in there, BCC'd them all. And I didn't know I was doing marketing at the time or using scarcity or anything like that. And I put in the headline, I was like, opportunity, Australia's #1 fish forum, because it pretty much was. It wasn't really many other competitors. And then I was like, hi. And I didn't even put their name because I was like, oh, well, I'm BCCing everyone, so I need to kind of keep this somehow it works. I was like, hi there. With forum, I've attached a screenshot of all the traffic that we have. We only have 10 spots available because literally we only had like the space for 10 banners at the top of our website. So we've got 10 spots available. What we need is we need a commitment of either $4,000 of product or $4,000 in cash for a year's worth of sponsorship for our forum so that we can keep it all up and running. We are looking for this to become immediate. As soon as we get the confirmation of payment, then you'll be put onto the website and you can start taking advantage of the traffic that comes there. And then I was like, and here is linked to our PayPal. If you have the capacity, if you're interested, then please just send the money here. I was like, there's probably like, if you look at it now, you'd like, why would you click pay on that? But I don't know why anyone did. But then at the end of it, sent it off. It was like 11 o'clock, and then I went to bed, got up the next morning for school, and I got a message from the guy on MSN Messenger. And he's like, hey, Kim, what did you do? And I was like, oh, did I like accidentally not BCC everyone and they're all pissed or something? And I was like, why? What happened? He's like, oh, we've got like just under $40,000 in our PayPal account. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, with all the people that you emailed, like 10 of them paid because I was using all the scarcity and different tactics like that to try and get them to take action, which was just legit. And he's like, yeah, we've got all the money in there. And so then I was like, wow, that like you can actually make money on the internet. All right. So that was really where I was like, cool, I've got to start learning more about this and have attention and focus to it. Because when I saw that, literally by sending an email and, we made money, and this wasn't even to like a warm audience or anything like that. I was like, there's got to be more to this. And this is when I really started going, okay, I need to understand the internet and, online marketing more, because if I can do that for someone like this in an afternoon, like in, a couple of hours, surely there's going to be more opportunity for me in the future as well. And that's when it all really kicked off.
Yeah, and it's just like sending out like the power of really good marketing of just sending out like one email that can generate all this cash. And isn't it crazy when you first make, or even if it's not for yourself, but you first realize like, wow, I can actually make money here. It's like everything else just moves out of the way and you just go down that path.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's literally like if you had like a belief before, it's like, I always used to watch a show called How I Met Your Mother. And then when they have this realization, there's an episode they have where it's like the glass shatters and you kind of realize something. It's like, oh my God. It's like, you kind of see the Matrix or something. Like, it's so cool when you have that first realization.
Yeah, that was certainly what happened for me when I struggled to try and make money online. So a bit of a background story for you, Kim, is I started trying to start my own websites and make money, and I sucked. And I was competing with so many people. I didn't know what I was doing, and I learned a lot. And I realized I'm just going to go away and buy one that's already past that 90% failure rate that all those startups face. And I went and bought one, and I was making money. I'm like, what? This is amazing. Like, I have to do more of this. And that's how I got into this and started teaching people. And I noticed what I did learn from that was so many different types of online businesses. And then there's different ways you can do different marketing. And that's why I wanted to have a chat to you today and ask you about a few different types of marketing you would do for different types of online businesses. Now, I know that my first business was like a membership type business, and then I bought a drop shipping. But with a drop shipping business, what would you say the best method is for, starting to market to a product that you're going to be drop shipping? It's kind of like e-commerce. Would you use the same sort of marketing?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, with those, I always find that it's like you've got to, like, it depends on the product, right? Because obviously a lot of the time with drop shipping, it's a highly competitive industry. It's a highly competitive niche most of the time, because it's like, unless you've developed a product, it's like, cool, anyone can go and drop ship that. So yeah. I find that that's where you've got to be much better in your marketing. You've got to be able to differentiate yourself. And I really like using video marketing when it comes to that, which is either for the product or the person behind the product as well. It makes a big difference.
Yeah. So is that a reason because of trust and building the brand? Like when you've got a person saying like, grabbing the product and using it or whatever they're doing and doing reviews on it, it builds a lot more trust and authenticity for not just the brand but for the product. Is that a reason why I'd use it, or would it be a different way?
No, exactly right. And it's because it just builds up that awareness, and it's like the trust and the interaction. Because again, if it's dropshipping, it's you have no point of differentiation unless you have a customized product. So to do that, the only way to overcome it if you don't have a point of differentiation is that you need to build a relationship. Because it's the same as like if you look at people that run like those network marketing companies or anything like that, they're all selling the same thing and there's a million people they can buy from. But why would they buy from you is because of a relationship. Why would they buy from someone that is a friend of theirs? And that's why, those things, they always tell people to go after their friends, because it's like, well, you have a relationship with them. So of course you're going to more likely to buy from them than anyone else. So the same thing applies to online. So if you can build a relationship, and that's why I heavily like video, because if you think about the way we've been conditioned as kids growing up, watching TV and stuff like that, some of the best relationships people have, sad or otherwise, but is sometimes with like TV characters. And it's like, cool, if you watched Friends or if you watched The Simpsons or something like that, when it finishes, you're like sad because it's like, oh, your friends or the people you trusted and had a relationship with are gone, right? There's almost a fear of detachment, and that happens after that show finishes. And it's exactly the same now when it comes to video, because if you look at then the way that we build and interact on social media, is building a relationship. It's using and utilizing video to get a relationship with them, to allow them to take it further. And it's been conditioned in us over years. Like, it's probably different with some of the younger generations now, but I think definitely for anyone that's been brought up where, like they watched a lot of just normal TV, not even a lot, just some of it, I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah, so especially for us getting more video, and that's probably why, obviously all these algorithms happening through the different socials is like really leaning towards video, because it allows people to have those relationships. And I've noticed that just even like I've posted my first Instagram TV video the other day, and I noticed that I just got so much more views on that than I did with, just a photo and stuff like that. And so a huge thing is obviously, as you said, it is video these days. What else do you think is a massive thing that is going to help people when they're starting? Like, say they just went away and bought a business, right? And they know it's working and it's making a bit of money, and they've got like a marketing strategy already in place, or it's getting organic traffic through, Google searches. What would you say to somebody is the best way to start marketing their business? Like, they don't have any marketing experience. What would you say, like one or two ways or approaches they should take to starting to grow their business through good digital marketing?
One of the big ones for me, I think, is that, and it's kind of an easy win as well, is for most people, that if you're already getting traffic, you've got a store that is working or anything like that, is to understand how retargeting works. Because I think for me that is something that a lot of business owners will already have on the table that they can take advantage of, especially if they've got search. Maybe they have some paid Google traffic coming and whatnot also. And when I say retargeting, I'm specifically talking about Facebook and Instagram. Technically speaking, Facebook call it Google call it remarketing, so it's slightly different, even though it's the same thing. But so essentially, which is anyone that comes to your site, if they don't take an action, then capturing them on another platform. So like, for example, Facebook. So for me, I think that's a really important one to focus on, which is capturing that traffic that's already there, already coming through, and then bringing it in from another platform like Facebook or Instagram, which most of the time is going to be some of the cheapest, because it's just a easier platform to capture there on. The clicks there are always cheaper than Google anyway, but as well as an audience that only you have, so you can spend just a couple of dollars a day and you can bring them either back to whatever it might be, a product or service that they were looking at before, or you can bring them back and capture them into your email list, maybe with a lead magnet that you have, or maybe you have a pop-up on your store where they can get X% off or whatever it might be as a first purchase. You can bring them back to that, which I think is really, really powerful. Yeah,
and that's a lot of people already know this, include onto this, that like, oh, the internet's following me around or whatever. It's like, obviously there's, and that that targeting or remarketing, what you can do for those people is that do want to jump into it is, you can search, how to get your Facebook pixel and put it on a website, and same with Google. You can do that in different ways with Google tracking, and then track those people, not just track them, but know that that's an audience that you can market to, and that audience is like the best audience to market to because they already know who you are. They've already been to your website, and it's kind of like a warm audience rather than a cold audience, right, Kim?
Exactly. And people say it's like, you want to go for the low hanging fruit. And I will say, well, a lot of the time people miss the jam, which is the fruit that's already fallen on the floor and been stepped on, and it's turned into jam. Like, it's sitting right there for them. And most of the time it's something very easy that you can bring back in, because you say they're warm, they know you, they like you, they trust you. Now, I'll give like a little, and like an advanced tip or something like that, right? What I would do if someone has a little bit more experience in marketing with that is potentially look at using something like a Google Tag Manager to only drop your pixel, or like for, I'm trying to not use technical terms, but it's like to only capture an audience after they either spend a certain amount of time on your site, or after they look at a certain portion of your site, like scroll depth. So it's like if you have a long sales page or a long home page, after they've only scrolled down like 50% of it. Because what a lot of times people do is they'll build an audience of retargeting or remarketing, but most of it is, and we all have a bounce rate on our website, right? So people come and they just click off straight away. It might be 50, 60, 80, it might be 10%, whatever it is, but you don't really want to get the people who were immediately like disgusted with your site, or immediately were like, no, this is not for me. You don't really want to build an audience and spend money marketing towards them. So that's a little way that you can take advantage of some of these opportunities still. But what happens is you only end up having the interactions with people that were spent, more than a minute on your site, or people that scrolled, 50% of the depth of your page. So they do have that know, like, and trust factor, because otherwise what happens is like, well, you're building an audience of people that may have immediately gone, this is not for me. And then you're going to waste your money. Like, even though it's going to be cheap, you're going to waste your money on the retargeting.
Yeah, that's so true. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that was a certain type of scroll that you could get through people in a certain amount of time on the page, which is really cool and does get quite technical. And I love that you said, sometimes people are looking for the low hanging fruit and they miss the jam. And one thing I want to ask you, some of the jam, like when somebody goes away and buys a website business that's already making money and they already have a list, that list which is an email list, is definitely some jam there that you wouldn't want to, just let go off, right? Is that something that you would come in and do and go, all right, let's look at targeting those people who are already on the list and set up some sort of marketing campaign in that sort of light?
Yeah, well, I think another opportunity that's sitting there that's definitely falls into part of the jam is that if you have an email list, we all have an email list open rate, right?
Yep.
So there's an open rate of how many people open it. Now, Jared, on average, what do you reckon would be your open rate? Like ballpark figure?
Like 15%?
15%. So let's just say that you probably have more, but let's just say you have 100 people on that list, right? So 15 people open that.
Yep.
There's still 85 that haven't.
Yeah.
So most of the time people are like, yeah, cool, we've got my email list. There's 85% or 85 people there that haven't, which is a big portion. But they're like, oh, cool, it's just email. That's how it works. Well, why not upload that audience into Facebook as well, and then run whatever you email them, create that into an ad, spend a few dollars and run it to that email list as well, because there's a likelihood that 85% of them are not reading that, are not getting to open that email. So it's like, again, that's like a little pot of gold that's just sitting there that you're not utilizing. That's jam, right? That's already been made for you. It's just sitting in the jar waiting for you to eat it. But most people don't do that because they're like, oh, well, my email is email, my ads, and they're separate. But it's like, well, if you've got 85% of people not opening your emails, why not put that list into Facebook? And look, you may not get 100% match rate. You may only match 80% of the people on there because they use different emails or phone numbers or names, whatever it might be. But that's going to give you a higher likelihood that everyone on your email list is going to see that offer, see that content, see that information that you send out, rather than just relying only on the sources individually. Because I think where you become a master at online marketing, and look, sometimes I forget to do this for myself, but I try and do it every time for our clients, is that you need to look at everything and how they work. Like, intermingling, right? Rather than as individual pieces. Because if you do them as individual pieces, then I think that's where you kind of miss out, because it's like, oh, I just sent an email today, I sent an ad out today, and I sent a messenger bot out today. But it's like, well, hang on, what, like, are they all interlinked? If not, why not? Or how do we interlink them?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's some damn tasty jam, that's for sure. So thanks for that, Kim. And so there's many different types of business models, and there's two that I kind of want to touch on and ask you about. And I'm very interested to hear your answer. And there's one that's you probably haven't done a whole lot of work in that. And that's like Amazon, not Amazon associate businesses, but people sell on Amazon. But before we get to that, I want to ask, affiliate commission, like affiliate sites, right? Where people write blog posts and they send people to different pages or shops to go away and purchase those products after leaving reviews from their blog. Now, what would you say is a good way to sort of market a business like that? I know that it's very common to just get great SEO and build the SEO and all that sort of stuff. But is there a way that you would go about, getting more traffic in a cheaper way, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram or something like that at all, or even a free approach?
Yeah, well, definitely for affiliate stuff, I would highly recommend using some traffic, because, well, if you're putting together good high quality content that's going to get you ranking for SEO anyway, it's like you may as well get those articles in front of the most ideal people. And let's just say that like, depending on what the affiliate product is, there's going to be a high proportion of people that are interested in that product on Facebook, looking for articles, looking for videos and things like that. And again, I would do something like, if you could, an ideal world video, but if not, just links to the article, just taking like the biggest hitting excerpt out of your blog post, putting that on with a really eye-catching image, and then run that to people. Let's say it was a health affiliate product, run that to people who are interested in similar products that may be looking for that. If it's a online software or something like that, running it to people that are interested in similar softwares. Because worst case, you're just going to get more traffic to it, which is also going to help your SEO rankings. But best case, they're going to read it and go, oh, wow, like this is actually interesting to me. Now, one thing that I was told, and that I probably do poorly, but if I'm to share something that would work best, is that when you do that, is on each page where you have, especially if you start to run social traffic to it, as opposed to just your SEO or Google, is making sure that you have potentially a customized lead magnet for that article, so that you can make sure that if they get there and they like it, if they don't take action yet and capture that affiliate product and utilize it, at least you're going to capture them potentially with the interesting lead magnet for them to opt into, so you get their details. Obviously, either way, you're going to get their, like, you will capture them on your pixels and your tracking and your analytics. However, if you can get them to opt into something, then even better. So if you do have a really highly ranking SEO article, SEO based article, and it's getting a lot of traction for that affiliate product, then I would also make sure that there's like a couple of options there for them to opt in for something, rather than just pitching the affiliate product or just positioning the affiliate product. Make sure that you've got the ability to capture them there also, because then obviously your email sequences, your follow-ups there, your relationship building from there will also allow you to get a conversion further down the track.
Yeah, and that just gives you a way higher return on your investment of your ad spend, right? It's not just like, hey, I'm going to push money to ads and get people to come to my site. It's like you're making a greater ROI by using that, if people opt in to whatever it is, like a free offer, you've got them in a list, you can email them, maybe you get a 15% open rate, but then you can retarget to them again anyway on Facebook, like you say. So that's an interesting one to bring up, I think, is the opt-ins and, a lead magnet. Now, it's very different. There's many different ways of, gathering those leads or, opt-ins and stuff like that. And it changes. I've noticed, there's different ebooks and different ways you can do it. But for somebody that does have a website and they want to grab an audience with some sort of free opt-in, or grab their email to put them into a list, Kim, what would you say, a 2019 moving forwards would be a good sort of type of opt-in that is going to be not just like a cheesy opt-in, here, grab my free, 2-page recipe or something like that, but a very valuable opt-in that it's a no-brainer for people to grab?
Well, I always think like there's no such thing as like a bad opt-in. There's just an opt-in that sucks. And it's like when I say it sucks, it's like, well, would you? I always ask the person, because most of the time, like if we like your audience, you're buying a site, it's probably because you're interested in that niche, right? You have an interest, somewhat of an interest. Like, yes, we all want to make money, but you probably wouldn't buy something that's completely boring to you, right? Because you still got to look at it and understand it. So for me, what I would look at is going, well, if it's something that I like, and I did this myself not long ago, and I was like, if I wouldn't download my own lead magnet, why am I promoting it? Right. So I always think it's like, you've got to make it better, but I think it's also going to be easy to consume and easy to use. So we were running at the time, like it was a ebook on how to get 5 new clients next week using Facebook. And I looked at it, and then I looked at that, and I was like, would I opt in for this? And I was like, not really. So I was like, okay, then why, if I want people who are similar to me, like, why am I running this as an ad, right? No, number one, stupid. So what I did then, I was like, cool, how can I make something easy to consume that I would get and I would download? And I was like, cool, what would be something easy that I could use straight away, and like a template on how to make an ad. I was like, okay, great. So we created just basically a one-pager, technically 2 pages, like back and front, which is the converting ad template, how to get your ads converting every single time, that's been responsible for over $15 million in sales. I was like, that sounds attractive to me. I would want that. And I would also, because it's simple to read and to consume and to use, I was like, well, that would be easy. So when we did that, we put that up, we started getting more leads, more quality leads, more people that were actually interested, versus the other ones was like, it was dragging, it was not really getting the best results. So I think it needs to be something specific that people could utilize, and also something specific that they would want. So for example, as opposed to my 25 tip ebook on my recipes, it's like, let's just say that you had a site and it was on food, but it was on cake stuff. Then I would be like, how to make the most irresistibly moist chocolate cake every single time. If I'm going there for cakes, and it's like, oh, here's it, like, because last time I made a chocolate cake, it was kind of dry, wasn't that good. If I want it to be, some people don't like the word moist, but moist, like I want to have it like that. That is something that I would get, and it's like going to be a super short, like not even a full page, but it's going to be something super short, simple, and then I'll be like, cool, I'm going to have that open when I make my next chocolate cake.
Oh man, I can't help but laugh. Just the way you describe that chocolate cake, it just sounds so delicious. And yeah, that word that some people don't like to use. But that is a really, really important thing to understand, is that if you can get into not just what you want to, grab for yourself, but put yourself in your audience's shoes. And this is something I've learned from marketing, is how to speak their language. And like, because I've target tradies before, and I've targeted many different people, and talk, using their language so you can relate to them. And I think this may be something I've gotten from you, is that when you do, you say this attention, this is just to these types of people, or, have you ever cooked a chocolate cake and it's been dry, like that's, and you just speak their language and list all their problems and their solutions and stuff like that. And that's a really, really big thing that I got from what you just said there, is speaking their language.
100%. And sometimes depending on the niche, there's like what they call dog whistle language, which is like, a dog whistle, you blow it and only the dogs will kind of raise their heads and look around. And I think that is very important also, which is understanding what are like the words that people respond to in certain niches, or certain types of people know. So if you think about it, every niche has something. So if I want to speak to marketers, that's who I'm looking to target, and I use words like CPM, CTR, CPC, and things like that, you kind of need to have an understanding of what like online advertising is to know what those terms mean. But if you don't know what they mean, that's going to go straight over your head, and you're going to keep scrolling by. So by having that deep understanding of your audience, then what you will be able to do is utilize the keywords that they use as well. And obviously you can highlight their problems, and it's like, oh, this sounds exactly like me. You want to sound like, if you have recipe or food or anything like that, you want to kind of sound like the Martha Stewart. You want to sound like the lady who, Nigella Lawson, who knows all the words that people want to use. And they know all of the technical I'll say like the industry stuff that's within that industry. Like for example, certain types of like whisks, crock pots, all that sort of stuff for cooking, for example, just on that. You want to know those things because then it's like, it just positions you as the person who knows all the information around that, and you're speaking their language. And then it's just like, again, it builds that relationship way faster.
Yeah, because they just connect. This person is exactly the person that I need to be following or working with and learning from. And Kim, so a lot of my clients and a lot of people listening, they're looking at going away and buying websites. Now, a lot of people may not know anything about marketing, and they've gone away and they bought this business, but they want to grow it. What would you suggest a couple of things are that they should do when it comes to growing their business through marketing? Like, what would be the first sort of place or thing to do or go or learn or whatever it is? What would you say, to those people, no experience in marketing, don't know much about it, just bought a business but want to grow it? What would be some suggestions?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Like number one is I would just identify, like we've talked about a lot today, like identify what the jam is. Going, cool. Like, what do you have as resources? What do you have as like your opportunities on there? Because you don't need to know about marketing to be identifying. Going, cool. I have an email list. I have a Facebook page. And kind of list these things out so you can see what you can utilize. Then you need to go and find out how you can take advantage of these opportunities, right? How you can mine for the gold in your new gold field that you've just acquired. So from there, it's like, I'm sure, Jared, you've got plenty of resources on this. I would recommend something, if you wanted something that's super easy, is and a shameless plug here, but like go to our YouTube channel. If you're absolutely brand new, go there. I talk about like what even is Ads Manager, how do you even boost a post, a lot of basic stuff, as well as some more advanced things. Because once you know what opportunities are, and this is what, and I'm sure you probably find this, everyone probably comes on and goes, cool, yeah, I'm ready, I want to buy a business. I was like, whoa. Right, there's steps and processes to this, right? Most of the time is the pre-work is all of the work that makes the difference before you go and start to do something. Same here, you've got to take the time to identify all those opportunities that you have to know then what you're going to go and do and what you're going to look at and take advantage of. Because it may just be that you need to amplify your SEO or your Google AdWords, or you need to retarget on Facebook, whatever it might be. But you're not going to know that until you've identified what opportunities you have in front of you.
Yeah, that's huge value for everybody who's just going and buying a business, already has a business and they just want to take it to the next level. It's like, once you've identified those, then you probably don't know how to take advantage of those, but there's so many resources out there, and a great place to start is like, yeah, go and check out Kim's stuff, some of his videos and that, and they will, help you, guide you to get to that point where you can like, oh, how do I take advantage of that list, and how do I set up this and set up that? And yeah, that's a really, really good thing. And another sort of question, Kim, is that people don't know what to spend on marketing. And it's obviously dependent on each business, right? And how much it earns and all that sort of stuff. But like, say, for example, like a percentage wise, like somebody goes away, they buy a business, and the business is just, for example, making, for round figures, $100,000 in revenue a year. Like, what would you suggest they sort of should be spending on marketing?
So I don't say normally, but like one of the probably like widely accepted numbers is 10%. 10% of revenue should be allocated towards marketing and advertising. And I'll say activities. Not necessarily do you need to just spend that on ads, but whether that's getting coaching on your marketing, whether it's bringing on assistant to help you with it. Like, I think in totality, approximately 10% should be dedicated towards then the growth marketing and advertising activities. Across there. Now, look, if you do want to grow and your margins allow, you may increase that amount and may get closer to 20%. If you really want to push it and you've got something that works, again, caveat, that works, don't just chuck, like, oh, I'm going to spend 50% and you don't have anything that's working right now. But if you do have something that's lined up and working, then I would always say very bare minimum, your total marketing and advertising budget should be 10% of revenue. But ideally, if you do want to grow and you have something that's converting, then I would maybe push that up a little bit more, because then you can kind of double down on things.
Yeah, for sure. And I add to that as well, is that depending on how much they want to grow the business by, or like how like much effort and energy they want to put into it, like how much fuel are you going to put on that fire to grow it even more? For me, I know that when I was starting out or buying businesses, I was spending pretty much all of my time and money into growing that business. And like Kim says, it's not the best thing to go away and spend a whole lot of money without knowing if it's actually going to work yet. Like, go back to step one. Hey, what are some solutions? What's the jam? How do we take advantage of that? And then work out what sort of money you can put towards it. And for anybody that's starting anything and wanting to make money online, is that I find, and I think sure you'd probably agree with this, Kim, is that most of your time to be growing any sort of business should be spent on marketing and sales. Because that's like starting out with a smallish business is definitely the lifeblood of it. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I always, like, pretty much until a business is like $1 million plus, I reckon it's got to be like 90% of your time is leads and sales.
Yeah, for sure. And we've covered so much. I think we could just keep going for so long, but I want to do sort of wrap up with a few pretty cool things that you can give us. And I've noticed some things that I've done really bad in marketing myself, like, using the wrong words, using bad copy, using stupid images, the offer not being good enough, targeting an audience that's just not the right audience. Like, what would you say are some things that people do, like a couple of things that people do really bad when they first start marketing, and a couple of things that some people should change and do better to utilize, the skills they already have and put those into marketing to get better at it?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing, and this is what I teach at, like, if I ever like run events or online or anything like that, is understanding these three principles, which is niche, offer, copy. They're generally the three principles that you need to understand so that you can have a successful campaign. And that's what I most of the time see people do wrong, is one of these things is not dialed in. So, for example, niche is who the market is that you're promoting your offer to. Offer is what you're putting out there. Sorry?
Oh, sorry, you go.
Offer is what you're putting out there to either capture the lead, to get a sale, whatever it might be. And then copy is the way that you articulate what it is you have to offer. Now, if you can think of those as three principles, most of the time, if something is not working, one of those three boxes is not ticked. It's like, cool, the niche is there, but I'm offering a red dress to guys. Cool, they're not going to buy it. Great, the offer is wrong, right? The niche might be right. But also dialing in and making it even more specific when it comes to the niche and the targeting that you use. And I'll share a quick story on that. So one of our clients, very early on, they came to us and they were running, they're like a career coach, if you will. They were helping people transition careers. And we started out their ads. The offer was good. It was like they're helping them find a new job and transition and all this fun stuff. And I was like, yeah, cool. That looks pretty decent. The copy I thought was pretty good. Now the niche, we're like, well, okay, who should we target for people that want to grow their careers? So we're like, well, let's target aspirational women like Ariana Huffington, Oprah, Ellen, and then ladies that are in business. Maybe they want to transition. And we got a lead. So we're like, okay, the offer is there, but it's not there yet. It's not getting a good volume. They wanted to get like 10 leads a week. And then we're like, okay, let's relook at this. So I kind of stepped away from the computer, which you have to do a lot, and went away. I was like, if you want someone to coach you in your career, like, why are you going to leave your career? Like, you've always got to ask yourself questions to get really good at marketing. Like, why would you want to leave your career? Well, I was like, well, number one is you probably want to transition to a higher position. Just thinking back on myself, if I ever left the job, I was like, well, I want to, climb the ladder, but no one's letting me. Or number two, I'm just not getting paid enough. And I was like, what would be the amount that I would think is like low if I'm working full time and they're not really showing me anything? And this was back when we could target income brackets, but unfortunately we can't anymore. I was like, what sort of income? I was like, if I was earning like 40, 45 grand and I wanted to kind of grow, and I wasn't getting any promotions or increase in pay, that would be painful for me. So I said, cool. Came back and we looked at people that were interested in becoming and we just used the targeting of like a director, CEO, CMO, like high level positions. And then we combined that. So then we narrowed that audience down to people that were ladies that were only earning $40,000 to $45,000 per year. And then the next day she got 15 leads. Right. Next day she had 15 inquiries because we were able to dial that niche in even more so and really get onto the pain points, understand them. And that took a campaign from basically nothing to 15 leads the next day.
Isn't that amazing? And well done on that, Kim. That's really, really good. And that just to show everybody that once you do know your niche, then it's also your offer. You can get a better offer and you can have better copy because you're speaking the language and your offer can be something that niche particularly wants. So dare I say, and I could be completely wrong, Kim, would you say that the niche is probably the most important thing to have first? And is that why it comes first in the niche offer copy?
Yeah, exactly. Like I always say, it's like you would assume that it's kind of like 33%, like, weight or hierarchy because there's three of them, but really the niche is probably 66% of that. And yes, you need to have a good offer and copy, but there's always that the famous saying is that you can't polish a turd. So if the offer is wrong, you can't really polish it. It doesn't matter how good a copywriter you are, but as well, if you're selling to the wrong person, that's even harder. It's like if the offer is kind of there, but you put it in front of the right people, they'll take it up like every day of the week. And then it doesn't matter how it's written. You can be the worst copywriter, but if it's the right thing is put in front of, like if you put a hamburger, regardless of how good it is, in front of a starving crowd, they'll pay you for it.
Yeah, for sure. And it's really important to have that right, not just because you're spending money on the marketing, but you're also spending time, effort, and energy as well. Stuff that you'll never get back. And I mean, you're just going a harder way around of learning and bashing your head against the wall. And one thing that I really picked up, and I don't know if everybody listening picked up on what you said, Kim, is like to get good at marketing, you need to get better at questions. And I think that's so relevant to life that, the better questions you have, the better answers you get. And I also like to share this sort of like analogy, should I say, that, say you go to Google and you want, like you're frustrating, like how do I fix this in my kitchen or whatever it is, or how do I cook this or whatever it is, and you're trying to type the question to get the answer you want, but sometimes your question's just not good, so you're not getting the answer you want. But when you notice you try it 4 or 5 times, and I know everybody's done this unless it's just me who's doing some retard stuff on Google, but I know that we've all done that where we've worked out to get a better question and then we get the answer. And I've noticed that in marketing as well, and in business, that the better my questions are, the better the answers are. It's not just good to have really good questions, but I also noticed, Kim, is that the deeper you go on those questions, the deeper your answers are and the more profound your results are as well.
Yeah, exactly. If you just scratch the surface, it doesn't kind of get you there. And like sometimes it can be painful and then you figure out that actually what you want to do is wrong, which you just have to kind of get used to in business, I think. But by asking those questions and, as you said, going deeper and deeper, it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference to the outcome that you can get, because then you also know your audience better than anyone else, because most people are happy to scratch the surface and kind of play up there, but most of them don't want to delve deeper into the depths and really find out, what the drivers are and everything like that. And once you do that, it just makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and you'll find most of those people that have any sort of level of success in life do ask themselves the harder questions and do go deeper in the areas, even if you're like a professional runner or professional fishing person or moving on to a professional, business owner or whatever it is. But the deeper you go and the better your questions are, you see the results and the success are better. And like we covered so much, and we did kind of go pretty deep. I had no doubt that we would go deep on this, Kim, and I just want to say, like, it's so great to have you on the podcast. And and thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And where can people sort of find you? I know that you mentioned people can check out your YouTube videos, and I know that you also got your certified ballers thing, events happening and all that sort of stuff. Like, where should people go away and suss you out?
Yeah, definitely. Our YouTube channel has so much stuff on there. It's amazing. So definitely just search Your Social Voice on YouTube. And yeah, we do have a few events coming up. So www.certifiedballerslive.com.au is a good one to check that out too. And if you just go, cool, like, oh, Kim, I've seen, like, I'm seeing some of your stuff after listening to you and Jared, and I don't know what to do next. Hit me up on Instagram at Real Kim Barrett, and I can give you some direction. And also, if I am not the person for you to be learning from right now, I'll also tell you what to go and look at and follow. If you go, cool, I've done my opportunities and this is what I think. If it's not something that I can help with, I'll be able to give you. I've got a pretty good understanding of the realm of online marketing, but I'm by no means an expert in every single one. So if it's something that I can't help with, I'll be cool, go watch videos from this person, go learn from this person, and more than happy to help people out and direct them in the right direction.
That's awesome, Kim. Thank you. And thank you so much, not just behalf of everybody listening, but thank you from me for jumping on and spending the time. And that's it for this episode today, guys. And also thank you who are listening to this. And please be sure to go away and like and subscribe. And if you did like this episode and this podcast, I'm going to be a little bit cheeky here. And I'm going to ask you to go away and please leave a review telling me what you actually liked about it. See you next time.